Hello, everyone. So, in today's episode, we are going to talk about a hot topic: why emotional intelligent women still choose emotionally unavailable men. And I'm talking about this topic not only from knowing, but also from my own experience. And this is where all starts. This is where we are going to understand why sometimes we follow the same patterns, even when consciously we understand that they are not what we want. So awareness doesn't choose our patterns, our nervous system does. So the reality is that emotional intelligence does not override early attachment wounds. So when we're talking about deep patterns and deep attachment wounds and deep relational experiences that started from childhood and that created a blueprint from how we relate with others and how we relate with ourselves in connection with others. So you can even name the pattern, but you can still be drawn to it because what is choosing is your nervous system blueprint, the familiarity. We learn through experience. So no matter how much you understand about your patterns, about your childhood, about your attachment wounds, and the painful experiences that you have gone through that shape the way you see yourself, your self-worth, relationships, and men, the only thing that will truly create long-lasting transformation and shift in those patterns is when we involve the nervous system and when we experience a different outcome. So that healthy connection with ourselves. So when we haven't established the safety in our body, when we haven't established a healthy relationship with ourselves, attraction is not a conscious decision. It is a body level recognition of familiarity. So whenever you feel an attraction with someone, what is truly happening on the nervous system level is that there's a recognition of familiarity. And this is usually what we describe as chemistry, as the fireworks, as this intense attraction for someone. But a lot of the times, that's just the body recognizing a pattern that in the past has not been good and safe for us. And this is why emotionally available men and stability and calmness can feel boring for a nervous system that was wired for chaotic relationships, because your body does not recognize that interaction and love with calmness. It recognizes love with unpredictability, with that feeling of inconsistency, and with emotional unavailability. And this is why high-functioning women can confuse emotional absence with safety, because in your childhood, love came with emotional absence. Love was hot and cold. Love was unpredictable. So whenever someone comes that is predictable, that is consistent, that shows care and desire and attraction on a consistent and clear way, you are not gonna recognize that as love, because that was not your experience of love in childhood, and therefore it is not your blueprint for love. So how do we change that blueprint to be wired for consistency, for emotional availability, and for connection, and for calmness? We rewire that relationship with ourselves first. So we become emotionally available to ourselves. We start to create a life that is calm and predictable and consistent with ourselves. We become consistent with ourselves. So this is when we shift the experience in the body through how we relate with ourselves first. And from that point, it will be easier to recognize when the body gets activated because there's familiarity or because there's actual safety in the body. So when someone consistent, available, and predictable comes into your life, you will recognize it as unfamiliar. So that way, when you start rewiring that emotional availability, that consistency with yourself, then when a person that shows these characteristics comes into your life, that's going to become your new familiarity. You are going to recognize the difference in your body, how it feels when someone activates familiarity but is unsafe, and when someone activates new familiarity but safety in the body. So something that we often override as women, mostly when we have gone through unpredictable and chaotic relationships in our childhood with our caregivers is that we learn to override our intuition. And this is because most of the time when we were kids and we were listening to our intuition, we were shut down. We were just told that that was not okay, that saying those things was not okay. Our parents were gaslighting us, of course, them without knowing. But so we learned that our intuition is not real. Our intuition creates pain because in the past, trusting our intuition led us to having those experiences where we were not accepted, we were not loved for who we are. So now, as adults, it's the journey of coming back to regulating your nervous system is a journey of coming back to your body, coming back to your intuition and starting to trust that intuition, starting to trust your gut feeling because the body always knows. And sometimes we don't want to hear the body because we know that what the body is saying is a decision that will take a lot of courage and sometimes pain. But something I want you to remember is that the pain of staying in situations, environments, and relationships that are not aligned with you is way more painful than the decision of choosing yourself. So, in summary, you are not choosing emotionally unavailable men because you lack self worth. You are choosing them because you are being loyal to what's familiar. So you can rewire what you are attracted to because we can attract many people, but it's who we are attracted to that we need to actually focus on. If you are identifying that there's someone that is already gaslighting how you're feeling, that is not validating your emotions, that creates chaos in your life, that is inconsistent, that is unpredictable, that is not clear about what he wants and how he feels about you, that's already the sign that that person is not for you. So your work is not about performing to be chosen. Your work is about choosing yourself and what you truly desire and what aligns with you, because in those choices is how you're going to attract that into your reality. It is not an easy choice because it's not what we've been taught. It's going towards something completely different, which is not staying complacent in relationships, is not settling in relationships where you don't feel valued and respected or expanded or happy or fulfilled. So we only have one life. Imagine that you choose to settle for a relationship, a life, a job, that you are not truly fulfilled, that you are not truly growing. This is when we feel stuck, unmotivated, and lost in life. So thank you for listening to this podcast episode. If you have any feedback or if you have any specific topics that you would like me to cover in the following episodes, please contact me. My contact is in the description of this podcast. I will see you soon in another episode of the Awakened Woman podcast.